content was from a discussion we had this week with actually with some of the Beam family and some of the Beam masters as well. And I would love to say hi to everybody who dared to enter despite the title. I was a bit, or we all thought about, can we give a title like that? Might that be irritating? Definitely it's new, right? Ramesh is there as well. Everybody checks in for this type of title and session today. So I'm really, really happy to have all of you here. It's 5 past already. Hi, Ram.
Hi, Jana.
And as 5 past is our normal time to start, so that's our ritual. I will start with asking you a question, but I think today it needs a bit more context than just the question. So we had a discussion this week around challenging life situations that have around specific persons that have been in our life for a specific time, and that we agreed on there was so much to learn from. So we have a German saying for those people, for people who give us a challenging time, and in the end we can decide, or that looking back we see how much we learned from the challenge, from the person. And in Germany we call them bad angels. So this is how the title came into life today. And I would love to ask you, after this short introduction, are you aware, now that we talk about it, of people who have been bad angels in your life? And what would you say was the most important learning from those, let's say, type of masters? Yes, please, Ramesh, start sharing.
So yeah, let me then share what I recognize as these cases of butt angels, right? So basically, those people in life which seem to be hard when we are experiencing, but in the end they really helped in a way or other that I recognize now. So they were so angelic in the way that I could improve out of those tough situations. Yes, I had at least, if I look back, in a way, most of the people were that way in tough situations. Tough means uncomfortable situations, right? And in every such situation, although it was sometimes acceptable pleasantness, sometimes unacceptable, unpleasantness, sorry. In the end, there was some learning, good learning. They only helped me to thrust in my life in that particular in that particular aspect of that was working upon, right? And my experience, if I just need to pick one or two, one was that with one of my ex colleagues who was very tough, and indeed he was so tough that I almost thought I will leave this workspace. And let's say then he left the workspace, but then I realized when he left, I was the first one to be called upon. So he called and he said, I'm leaving for so and so reason. And it really touched me because he was just looking at the work aspect, and that is how he was tense with everyone around. And it was not just with me, he was always the same with everyone. And that was one aspect. And the second thing was, I spent 6 months with him. And due to that style of working mode, which was very difficult to handle, in the end, he had passed me all the learnings that rather is impossible to learn even in 10 years of a normal work life.
Okay.
So whatever I am now in my professional, let's say, work is just because of those 6 tough months. So I recognize him as an angel because thanks to him, I could learn that helped me, let's say, since that phase in a greater, grander way. And that is one example if I need to pick. And few days ago when we met and we were discussing about this particular topic, I also liked the fact that I am my own but angel in many times, because I chase myself in order to in every aspect, in many aspects or every aspect. For example, reading books, taking care of myself. Sometimes it's not so comfortable, I know, yeah, but then I challenge myself. So in that way, I don't know if it is right that I consider myself in that case as a but angel, but I just wanted to share how it would be so.
Thank you so much. Well, I actually would say there's not really a right or wrong about the definition, right? So why can we not be our own, let's say, bud angels? I really liked something that you said in the beginning of sharing your experience with your colleague, actually, when you said the experiences reached, or the range of experiences went from pleasant, acceptable to unpleasant, unacceptable. So there was a huge range, right? And the thought that came to me was, what insight was it that transformed your perspective on the unacceptable, unpleasant? Can you grasp that?
It was in terms of toughness of taking it. So when certain thing happens once, you may oversee like, well, okay, I can take it once. But then when it repeats and then the intensity increases, it reaches to a stage when you say, okay, there is a break even, and then the break even had also crossed. So that is when I said enough is enough. But then exactly at that point, actually, he left. So I'm sure for a longer period of time, if that had continued, it would have not, continued. I would have not continued probably. I'm not sure. But in the end, as I said, it was so very helpful.
Yeah. And from what we discussed, I think I get some more details that I can share for the others to explain a bit more why a bud angel is a bud angel, and why has to do with some pain in the and being an angel at the same time. Because as far as I hear you, it's with that person, something became so unpleasant and unacceptable that he set you up for it being in the same situations in the future. You were able to care for those situations not becoming unacceptable and unpleasant for you. Did I get that right?
Yeah. And then, from that, if I may add a little bit, what were my takeaways? One was, yes, I learned a lot of things. And second thing, which I learned, was how I should not be with other people. Okay. And the third thing is, if a similar situation I face, I know how to easily handle. So in one package, there were so many things that had added into me without me noticing them. Because when these things were unfolding, I was completely, because in that being state, it was too tough. But when I look back, there were so many gifts in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you, Ram. And this is where I want to address the question again to all of us for more sharing and insights. And I hope the idea of a bad angel becomes a bit more clearer now. And my question is, do you know situations in life where somebody, let's say, filled you in with so many gifts you haven't been aware of at the time, that afterwards in a similar situation unfolded so that you could handle this moment differently, this situation or this challenge, so that what the person at that time gave you and didn't feel like a gift, but maybe more like a pain, unfolded as a gift later on afterwards? Who of you knows situations like that and would like to share around that with us? Anasuya, please unmute yourself. Hi, Anasuya. You can speak now if you want to. Hello.
Giant కమ్మన్నారు సైన్స్ పాటు మెడిటేషన్ చేయించమన్నారు. మీరు అయిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ చేస్తాను.
Yeah, Anasuya ji, maybe if you can share in English, that would be better, so everyone understands.
Sorry, sir. English.
Right, Andy. So just a second, Jana. So మీరు మీ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ షేర్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నారా? నేను ట్రాన్స్లేట్ చేస్తాను.
నా ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ సార్,
ఈ కాన్సెప్ట్ గురించి ఫాలో అయ్యారా? ఓకే 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 అండి. కాసేపు తర్వాత దెన్ వి కనెక్ట్ బ్యాక్, రైట్? ఆ మెడిటేషన్ గురించి అయితే కాసేపట్లో స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది.
ఓకే, సారీ సార్.
పర్లేదమ్మా. Yeah, we proceed with the next sharings. Yeah.
Yep. Well, Madhu is raising her hand and Mal as well. I would say let's start with Mal. Please unmute yourself, and after that, it's Madhu. Share with us, Mal.
Unmute.
We can hear you.
Yes.
You're with us. Amazing.
Yeah. I don't know whether this is the right incident that I'm talking about. When was it? April, May, June. About first week of July, I had a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Unexpected car accident. Okay, I was coming out of the parking space in Tesco, and my foot slipped, hit the brake, the car flew. And I couldn't stop the car. And it went and hit another car, parked car. Luckily, there was nobody in that car. Okay, it was only me and an empty car. And the lady was standing and talking to somebody. She came running from there to make sure I am okay. She was not bothered about the car.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. I thought she's going to shout, okay, or get annoyed or angry. No, she came and said, "Are you okay? I'll bring you a drink." And she brought me a drink. And she stayed with me for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, the police came and police came. And my neighbor also came to take all the groceries back to the house. And somehow I felt safe and I felt good to know that there are people like that in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And she helped me the learning was, she helped me to know, to understand that not all of them would react negatively to these kind of situations. That was my learning.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a tough time because I had panic attack and I couldn't drive, and I went through all that. But I think she was my angel.
Exactly, that's what I thought as well, that you indeed met an angel, a pure angel, without the first sylph that we today discussed. So this person didn't, let's say, create or unfold a pain with or for you or around you, from which you afterwards grew stronger. But she, as an angel, I would say, helped you to get over a pain and from there to grow stronger.
Yeah.
But she didn't cause it,
Mm.
I would say. Does that
Mm.
make sense? Do I
Yes.
get that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that is the difference between the angel and the bud angel, that the one is there to guide us through pain coming from a different challenge. And the bud angel is the person that brings a challenge and a pain to us.
Yes.
Is
Okay.
not necessarily guiding us through that, actually. And maybe even during the process, it does not feel heavenly at all. And afterwards, we get aware how much we grew from this challenge. And afterwards, we get aware that the gifts we got out of that connection in ourselves give us a level of self-actualization to be set up and prepared for the same situation with a different person and less pain, or maybe even no pain.
Yes.
Thank you. That was a really good help me to even give a better, I would say, description between the both, or even to get aware of the different description. Yes. Thank you, Mal. And
thank you.
One question so far: are you completely healthy again? Is everything? Have you overcome every effect of this accident? Actually,
it took me about 2.5 months because I the first week was fine, nothing. It's as if nothing has happened. Okay. And then from the second week, I started getting panic attack, late reaction. My whole body was shaking, and and I was having shortness of breath and chest pain and everything. So the doctor saw me and said, I'll get an appointment at the hospital for the cardiologist to see you. But one weekend it got so worse, I took myself to the casualty accident emergency, and they did all the tests, everything, and they said your iron level is very, very low. That's why your body is reacting like this. Otherwise, you're okay, nothing wrong with you. Okay, that happened. But it has shaken my confidence a bit to sit behind the car and drive again. So I'm taking driving lessons now.
Beautiful. So then you have another angel by your side currently. You're probably a driving teacher that helps you to step back into confidence again.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm really from my from a heartfelt perspective, I'm really happy that you're healthy, that you haven't been injured, and that you're here with us sharing so much of your life wisdom actually every single Thursday. Thank you so much, Mal.
Thank you giving me an opportunity.
I always enjoy your sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madhu, please unmute yourself and share about your, let's say, experiences and thought around bud angels.
Hey, Jana.
Hey.
So when we were discussing the other day about this topic, it was very interesting for me, very interesting, and we all shared our views about this topic of bud angel. And when we were all discussing this, this thought came to me that why only people are bud angels. situations in our life can be but angels. Like for
Mhm.
me, I felt I just remembered an incident which happened when I was studying my +2. um, at that time I failed in my studies, and I had to sit 1 year at home.
Wow.
So I was really like feeling very bad,
Mhm.
very very bad. I was cursing myself why I didn't do that and all these things. Again, as Ram said, we are our own but angels.
Yep, we can be.
So yeah, so that time I was just all negative thoughts about myself came, and I'm just pulling myself down. And then after this phase passed, I have I have I have started studying my arts. If I would have passed in my exams that time, I would have done my engineering,
Mhm.
which is of not of my interest at all. Since I have failed in that exam, so that I had to pursue my arts. So now that incident is like a butt angel to me, so that I can, like become an artist.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Very interesting. Thank you, Madhu.
my view, how I've seen butt angel. Thank you, Anna.
Mhm. Thank you for sharing. My thought around that actually, in some ways, is that the bud angel aspect probably was that you, let's say, took the back door for yourself to bring yourself towards your purpose by a little bit of maybe self manipulation on the engineering aspect that you weren't aware of. Instead of maybe that would not have been the bud angel way, but the straight way of directly going for art. I don't know. Is there something in that, Madhu? Would you see that? Would you say that's the aspect of the bud angel, the painful aspect of the angel? Mm.
Can you unmute? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So as I told Yana, like before, it was like only engineering or doctor studies were there at that time. So
Okay, okay.
there was no arts. No
Mm-hmm.
way. Since I had 1 year gap, so that was the time where I was contemplating, and sources from angels were really coming into my life, showing the path. Yes, there is a subject called arts. We can
Mm-hmm.
pursue arts. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like at that times nobody were knowing about fine arts and all these things. It was not that much
Right. Okay.
parents won't suggest. So that's why if I would
Thank you
have
for
passed in my
clarifying.
exam, I would have gone in engineering.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. I
Yeah,
didn't get the aspect of that there
yeah,
hasn't been that opportunity
yeah,
before. Thank you, Madhu.
yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Thank you, Anna.
Archana, Archana, would you like to unmute yourself? I can see your hand as well.
Hey, Anna. Hello,
Hey.
everyone. Yeah. So, yes, this is Archana. Yes, you said it right. Thank you. And yeah, when today morning I saw this topic, like I just couldn't understand what is it, but like I thought, okay, let me attend. And that, especially that cute little devil. So it remind, yes, it's a very cute little devil. And I'll just say a small thing about it. When back in India, when my kids were small, there used to be a magazine for kids. Like it used to be called as I don't recollect, but there were two main characters. So one was the angel devil, and one was this kind of butt devil, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So and the name was Mayavi and Lutapi. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how many of you can recollect that. It was a magazine from Kerala, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this cute little devil, in fact, you'll not believe, was my favorite, and its name was Lutapi.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I would name I used to my nickname of my daughter. I named her as Lutapi, cute little devil. Yes,
Okay.
cute little devil. So looking at that picture today reminded me of that. And I just really didn't pay much heed on the topic or anything. I just wanted to attend and see what it is about, and it's such a cute little word for situations and people who really bring such a huge and phenomenal transformation
Mm-hmm.
in our
Mm-hmm.
lives, calling them as but angel,
Mm-hmm.
especially angel. That is we just say, okay, people brought this change, or situation brought this change, or our suffering brought this change, or our pain brought this change. But it's such a beautiful way of, I don't know exact word in English, but like it's a beautiful way of, you know, telling, about, this people. But angel, it's such a cute, and I'm very happy to have found that name today. Yes, this is the first time ever I am coming to know this word, but angel. And yes, there has been couple of people, and I'm really so thankful from the bottom of my heart for them. Trust me, I think they're the best people, I should say, to be frank, because otherwise, we would be just being our comfort zone, and just exist in our
Mhm,
life,
mhm,
just lead for the sake of leading and sake of existing, and not
mhm,
really living the life. So I'm really thankful to those people. But at the same time, if like they continue to exist, but like I don't have any grudges or grievances or anything whatsoever against them, but still I would really like to continue my life without them. But if for some reason they become a permanent part of your life, or at least time being
mhm,
for now, then what could be done in that aspect
mhm,
was my question.
mhm,
Like I want to avoid them, and I'm doing my best, because once you get the lessons, you get twice, you get thrice, you get 4 times, you get 12 times, you get n number of times, and I want to avoid them, but still they're there.
mhm,
And for some reason I'm not able to avoid them, or to disconnect the cords with them,
mhm,
mentally or on the personal level. What can be done in that case? If
mhm.
anyone can help me with that question, that would be great.
Thank you, Archana. That's a really amazing question. And let's say, pass the question on to all of us
Yeah,
right now.
exactly. Yes,
And
anyone.
anyone who has an idea, an experience, thoughts you would like to share on Ajana's question around how to deal with a butt angel that, for the time being, seems to be permanent in your life and that you can't avoid, and where there is not that much chance for a break of having encounters with that butt angel. Who of you has ideas, experiences, thoughts to share around that?
Hello, Jana.
Hi, Shashank.
So, I mean, of course, I don't have a direct answer for that.
Mhm,
For me, I mean, my understanding and in my experience, when I met someone in the corporate world, like it can happen to anyone, right? Like you
mhm,
cannot avoid it. And once the lesson is finished, and once you learn the lesson, it's finished. Like you move on to the next stage. Maybe in the next stage, you will get again a challenge.
mhm,
So I see it in this way. You either complain at the situation and you don't learn the lesson, that then the life throws at you again and again,
mhm,
uh, even challenging lessons,
mhm,
or you look this situation in this manner that you learn.
mhm,
So yeah, for me it we cannot avoid sometimes, like we cannot avoid the challenges
mhm,
that life throws at us.
mhm.
So this is how I see it.
Exactly. Which, I mean,
And yeah,
Archana also didn't say, right? Archana
yeah,
said she knows she's grateful for them, but as we also said, it can be hard to handle them if they are there for, let's say, a more permanent time,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. That's the
Mhm,
question. Like, if it's the same person, if it's the same angel, and if
mhm,
it's the same kind of lessons, and I've learned, I want to move on. I don't want to be in their life,
mhm,
or they into my life. But for some reason, it's just how much ever I'm trying my best, but it's not being avoidable, that situation, because the lesson is same, the person is same,
mhm, mhm,
and I'm done. In fact, I don't even feel any more bad, but it's happening again and again. I just wonder, what more is the lesson for me to learn, I mean, from the same person, from the same kind of situation.
mhm.
That's the crucial question for me. Suffering and everything, from different person, different lessons, everything is fine, but it's with the same person and a same kind of lesson. That was the most question that is really boggling my mind.
Yeah, thank you, Archana, for clarifying. There are more and more hands going up, so we have some more people that would love to share. Next one is obviously there already. Ramesh has some thoughts, experiences, ideas to share. Please share with us.
Yeah, I would always take my examples, my experiences. So when I had this particular colleague, which I shared about earlier, right? And there were other colleagues, so we were all working together. And we were all having the similar situations in terms of what we were experiencing with this particular colleague. Yeah. So now when I look back, I reflect upon so many learnings that had happened. But at the same time, the other colleagues, none of them recognize anything. So I'm really grateful for that person, for that angel. But the other colleagues, they do not see that experience as the way I look upon that. So indeed, there were cases for some people who had him as a continued colleague for longer time. Mm-hmm. So my personal, let's say, understanding that comes to me is everyone will have their own learning, and everyone need to look upon each of their own case if it is repeating. Maybe sometimes it is there to teach bravery in order to take control, or maybe sometimes it is there because there is still something to learn, not just on our end, on both the sides. So it could be on many dimensions. Sometimes, we can even expand further. If we look into a spiritual aspect of it, there is still some karmic things that are left out, still happening. But it is quite different from person to person, and I think one has to reflect upon more and more on that things.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank you.
Archana, anything you want to add on that directly, or would you like me to get the other people sharing their thoughts and everything as well? Because I find it important to circle back with you after each person if there's something you would like to add or to ask further before I unmute the next person.
That's great, and that's a very one beautiful point which I got from your answer, Ram, is that sometimes the lesson has to be learned from both the sides. So that's a really an eye-opening thing. Probably something is left from that person's point of view also. So that's really assuring, and yes, thank you so much for that, and it helped me a lot. So yes, thank you, Jana. Thank you everyone.
Oh, well, a pleasure. And there's
still
more hands up.
Oh, great.
Archana, so there's still more inspiration for you to come. For example, Madhu also raised her hand. Might just go top down further on with the people that I see in the participants raising their hands. Madhu, please unmute yourself.
Yes, that's a beautiful question that Archana had asked, Jana. And few years back, I've read this book called Fakir. I'm sure Archana must be aware of it. In that book, it is written that usually a butt angel is a mother-in-law. Like for many women, a mother-in-law is a butt angel. Trust me, I hear many stories from my friends saying that a mother-in-law is really very troubling them. So in that book, it is mentioned that a mother-in-law has taken, in the previous life, a mother-in-law was a mother. She was an angel in the previous life. There, we could not learn some lessons from a mother, or maybe the mother was pampering too much that she was not teaching lessons. So the next life she came as a mother-in-law so that we can learn lessons, and as a daughter-in-law also we can teach some lessons. It's a mutual, as Ram said, it's karmic. It's learning from both sides. So I see that once we understand this concept that yes, these people are there for a reason, and when we have this compassion towards them, if we are continuing the relationship, we have to be there in that relationship, then we have to have an understanding. When we have this kind of understanding, I think this feeling of hatred or pain dissolves. Yeah.
Thank you, Madhu.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now I see another person who raises the hand. I'm pretty sure that what I see is the surname, so please forgive me, but to make sure who I mean is Anindita. Would you like to unmute yourself and first tell me, is that your surname, and did I miss your first name?
Yes. No, Jana.
Okay, great. Hi, Anindita. Amazing to have you here. Would you love to share with us your thoughts and experiences on the topic?
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. After hearing all the experiences and based on my own experiences, like after listening to Archana, I had a question. Um, I'm thinking of certain situations which I'm going through. Uh, Makes me think like this. Maybe after a point of time, is it possible if even if a person had learned the lesson, if the same situation is there, does it mean that we become but angels for them for something? Could it be that way?
A very interesting question, Anindita. What do the other people here say? Would you say that without knowing, we might be but angels for other people? I get a smiley here on the chat from Shashank.
And let me, I would like to share my experiences. So I got married to a person who who was abusive. Like he spoke abusive words to me, and I am a kind of person who I was very sensitive. Like even for small things, I couldn't take criticisms. I used to cry for small things, like which others used to laugh at. So that's how I was. And after this kind of experience, I took it very personally, and then that's when, to come out of it, I started doing meditation and all that. Um, and then I understood what all I read in books and what I hear from spiritual people, what they talk. I understood that I should not take it personally, and they are going through something, so that's why they are talking that way. All that I was able to realize. And now actually I'm able to take everything easily. Something which was my weakness, now I think that's become my strength. I can easily handle people who are shouting at me, or who, if they are rude to me, I won't take personally. For me, it is a very big improvement because that was my weakness. So, thinking him as a but angel, as an angel, it makes me feel good. Actually, it's very nice, as Archana stated, and her question raised this question in my mind, that maybe we become but angels after some time for them. So yes, Jana.
Thank you so much, Anindita. And I really love that question. And this question also shows that it's not about revenge, right? It's about development. And from a state of development, there comes a trigger for someone else. And so that even our development and our self-actualization might become a trigger for someone else without us knowing or wanting to. And that trigger being a chance for their self-actualization as well. Beautiful. Thank you. We have another participant who wants to share. I only can see 2 letters here. SM is raising the hand. SM, would you like to unmute yourself and let us know who's behind the acronym?
Hi, Jana. It's Sumati.
Hi. I thought so, but I wasn't sure. Hi, good to have you here.
Thank you. It's M for Muthu. I just used my initial because I'm on some other platform, and I wanted my initials because I was an observer. But the person who runs the program knows it's me. That's all, not for any other reason. So I haven't changed it. Thank you, Jana, for that beautiful, beautiful question. As ever, you trigger us, and and we all get.
Maybe I'm your butt angel without knowing.
No,
Sorry.
no. You're a divine soul. Don't worry. Right. The first master is right. I think the first master's query and question, to be honest with you, we would have all gone through that prior to getting into religious or spiritual pathway. And I think the first master's query was answered by the second master and how they are all connected. So the bottom line is, I don't want to tell about examples of what I went through. The bottom line is, coming into spirituality, I realized the first thing is to talk to the overself, whoever that bad angel is. If you feel you are at the right, you talk to yourself. I always do self-talk. I do real audible verbal self-talk whilst I'm driving, doing housework, and my kids would say, "Ma, are you talking to yourself? Is everything all right?" I say, yeah, I'm all right. I do the self-talk. So when you're doing that, and the intentions are really from the bottom of your, they say the energy is right at the bottom, it really comes from there. And you talk to the overself, explaining yourself, and you'll be surprised. We all know about overself, and that message is given. And you find the intensity of the emotion that you have. Why me? When is this going to end? Again, what the first master said is, although the lessons were learned, there are components of, what should I say, impatient. Because if that was not there, you won't say, when is this going to end? I've understood that it's impatient, isn't it? It's the story of a monk who had a young apprentice who wanted to learn some fight, and the monk told him to do simple tasks, but that prepared him for the bigger task of self-defense. So basically, we are also rushing, isn't it? Think about what we do to our kids. Our kids would say, yeah, I know this, so tell me what else do I want? But that is impatient. They think they are so smart, they know it all. But the whole idea is to wait patiently and to accept, acknowledge, and see what else is there to be learned. So, and also to love the other bad angel. I know it's difficult. I never hated, but I feel hurt. Maybe that was to feel that I was victimized, but I wasn't really hating. I was getting very upset before I entered into this pathway, more than 1.5 years back. But then imagine, what do we say? Jesus Christ says you get a slap on one face and show the other cheek. But try that. We hear this time and again as a baseline in our meditation. And I've learned in this very platform, just about few months back, I thought, oh my God, I can't remember who was it, Nilima Ji or Sashang Ji, in one of it. I'm sorry. This message, until you learn the lesson, really well, it will not be repeated. So obviously that's a self-check, isn't it? So we have not embraced that lesson wholeheartedly. We just want to get on with it. Okay, it's fine. I can do that. I know it. But that's again the element of impatience, isn't it? I think the bad angel soul too should calm down, should accept you, and then realize it doesn't matter anymore. That's when we heal. That's my take.
Thank you so much, Sumathi. That's yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in that, and a lot of experience actually that one can hear from your sharing. Interestingly enough, Archana, I thought about that for a couple of minutes now, because what you asked is just very very current moment in my life, or a very current phase at the moment. And I decided to share it. So there is a person in my life, in my personal life system, let's say it like that, that has a role that will always be there. That role will be there. This aspect of my system will be there. And so this person will also be there. And there are dynamics between us all the time, sometimes more, sometimes less, but there are always dynamics. And what I found out about butt angels is an interesting aspect of, why is that person triggering me? But there is another person, just like Ram said, other people working with that person that are not triggered, so that don't bother around that specific person bothering them. And so what I started doing was looking inside, asking myself, so what is the trigger within me? Because the truth is we find the answers within, right? We know it. And that is something that also fits with what Sumathi just said, is if a butt angel is still there, there is still something to dissolve. And I wouldn't necessarily always call it a lesson, because that can sound so harsh or something, but there are still possibilities to dissolve something. And what helps to find the ways to dissolve it is focusing back on my circle of influence instead of focusing on the circle of concerns, because the circle of concerns is what was just said. Why me? If that person ever only would. If I try to focus on my power, on what is triggering me, what is that story in my head that has to do with what's triggering me? How do I want to rewrite the story? How can I behave differently to rewrite that story? I have more of a focus on me and my development and possibilities for development when I'm in contact with that person, then the focus on that person still being in my life and that person always will being there. So I can focus on my very best self in a way. And that's what I did during, I would say, the last couple of weeks, with having found clarity around what is my trigger, and also a bit of where it comes from, but way more was important for me to get a picture of how do I want it to be in the future. So I shaped the what for. What is it good for? What do I want it to be good for? Because how do I want to develop? How do I want to develop within it? And from the what for, I decided on how I want to change my behavior towards that person. And that sounds easier than it's done. I decided on what my new behaviors and my new responses instead of reactions I want to do and I want to be in. And actually it started to affect in quite intense way. Because in Germany, we say there was a little bit of a storm in the water glass, the glass of water exploding. As when you start to act differently, you will definitely get a different response. And I don't want to go in detail, but we had quite some tough time going back and forth. But I indeed stick with what I focused on. What do I want it to be for my personal development? And I went on with it, and it wasn't easy, but I did. And what also helped me was being aware of every one of us is at a conscious state of mind, of being, and that might be different. And me again and again trying to be aware of, we are on different state of minds in our, let's say, way of being. Not one further up, not one down, but different, one left, one right, maybe one north, one south, different places on the map. Always helped me to circle back to myself in terms of, and where am I on the map, and where do I want to go? So this is how it really went on for a couple of weeks. And it also came to, let's say, so we started arguing in some ways, or not, maybe not arguing, but we got into discussions, and it got, the dynamics got more intensive, and it also got a bit of an explosion in the end. And that was the day before yesterday, I think. And even after that explosion, I checked in with myself in terms of, did I stick with the development and the self-actualization, the direction on the map that I wanted to take? Yes, I did. So I was fine with that. And then I did something else, checking in with me emotionally on, how do I feel with that? And I found a difference in terms of, in former times, I would probably have tried to avoid going to the place where, despite me having done the right thing in my thing, allowing myself to nevertheless feel hurt and grieving for all this process. And this time I allowed myself the process and the grieving. And so there were two lessons in for me. How do I want to respond differently in the dynamic with the person? And how do I want to process such a process differently from before, for myself personally, for my personal health? And so there were two lessons in there for me that I found really valuable, and I'm grateful for. And maybe you find some inspiration in there. And in some ways, I can indeed even give a little bit more of a happy end here, though it might sound cheesy, but I swear it's the truth. Because yesterday evening, I was sitting there starting to accept that although you do your very best to learn on your end, in your self-actualization, you can not force someone else to learn the lesson. Let's say it like this, but you can stay open-hearted. That's what I did, right? I was always aware of different stages of consciousness and different stages on the map. Not a bad person, nothing like that. And the energy I send out that way, by protecting my boundaries in my way, by responding in the new way, but at the same time, not judging that person. All of a sudden today, there came a message saying, I just want you to let you know that the way I behave is out of the best I can do currently. If I would be in a different state of being, in a different situation in life, I would be able to face our challenges differently. But right now, I'm only able to protect myself. And this was the most beautiful ending for me on this story, because it showed me that staying with my self-actualization and at the same time doing my very best to stay open-hearted, to stay in love with that person, though the person hurt me, and though I went back to taking a deep breath, looking on my map, looking to where I want to go, and keeping that process running, though there were doubts around, is that right or wrong, the way the person more intensely treats me. In the end, what I did, to me, turned out to be the right thing for myself. And with the wholeheartedness, I today got also the signal of, there is the process still ongoing on both of us, learning on both sides. I hope that makes sense. I'm not 100% sure whether I'm making sense right now. I did my best. And I guess I talked way too long for all of you.
Oh, wow, that's a wonderful explanation, Jana. Thank you so much.
Yes, exactly. Actually, that's what exactly almost the same situation and almost the same kind of like usually the word and the whatever you're talking about, like not compromising or not we really don't want to compromise on the self-actualization aspect, and also simultaneously being in love with that person or compassionate with this person. So it's kind of a struggle, but yes, thanks for all the inputs, and yes, probably I need to put and understand more or get deep into like what else more is there for me to, as Sugandhiji was telling. So yes, thank you all. Thank you so much, Yana. And I can totally relate with what you're telling.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. And I think I talked a little bit too much, but I couldn't make it shorter somehow because I'm still processing it myself. And extroverted people like me are, how do you say, think talkers. Sumachi, you want to say something else?
Thank you so much, Jana. There's so much of messages that you have given a great insight. And I just want to read something to all these beautiful masters here. This is by Rania Naim. I'm slowly learning that even if I react, it won't change anything. It won't make people suddenly love and respect me.
Mm-hmm.
It won't magically change their minds. Sometimes it's better to just let things be. Let people go. Don't fight for closure. Don't ask for explanation. Don't chase answers. And don't expect people to understand where you're coming from. I'm slowly learning that life is better lived when you don't center it on what's happening around you and center it on what's happening inside you. I stress what's happening inside you, inside all of us, friends. Work on yourself and your inner peace, and you'll come to realize that not reacting to every little thing that bothers you is the first ingredient of living a happy, healthy life. It's my sharing. And also, friends, just like Jana, I just had some situation a couple of days back. I've learned in the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I've told myself, okay, Sumathi, any stimuli that comes, just absorb it using all your senses, all your common senses, and then do not respond if they are negative. Filter it. Just filter the unwanted stuff and absorb what you need to learn and don't respond. And you know, friends, my dad used to say, sometimes the phone is really a bad angel because we want to react instantaneously. And I've had this habit because I'm a speech language pathologist. And in my job, you really need to clarify, be explicit, and attend to it then and there. My job influences me, but I think that was a bad angel. So now I realized, yes, it's got a lot of good media communication, but what do? We think we are right and we respond immediately. So I've taken a situation like that where there was a component of disrespectful was involved from, my close family from abroad. I know it. And I always do one thing. I always get my daughter to read because they are of a different generation. I'm 50s and she's 20s. I say, look at it. Am I misjudging? Is this acceptable? Yes, this is disrespectful. You don't have to accept it. And you know what? I accepted it because some of the elements were true. Because if that's a child who's writing, that is the wisdom she has as a teenager. I have 50s. Why do I want to prove a point to her? Although I have the DNA to do it. I thought, let time go. And when I see her face to face abroad, I'll tell her did not ignore your message, but I did not react.
Mhm.
And that's how I'm going to go about. And it gets easier. That's it. And the lesson to learn is you don't have to prove a point. You don't have to express it, because I just realized, okay, there was an element of disrespect, but that's how the person knows and what the person knows. And I just said it in my mind, and I'm sure she'll get it, because what goes around comes around. And soon that child too will grow up to be an adult. And that's it. Lessons will be learned. So remember, friends, overview with all the 5 senses, as absorb what's needed, filter it. And then I've added this step, just don't react. Wait for it. Sometimes you don't even have to respond. Silence is golden.
Thank you so much. And you were already, somebody already asked on the chat, actually was Archana, if you can share the poetry, the lines of the poetry, or the poem itself on the Beam family group. And I would also really be happy if you could do so, because I resonated a lot with what was
Thank
written
you.
there.
I will.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Vindhya, you had been raising your hand, and now I don't see your hand anymore.
I wasn't sure if you had time. I joined a little late, but I can still get the gist of the conversation y'all are having. All of us face these situations, right? Of people, and I'm coming into spirituality. I've been trying to, like you said, everyone is at a different stage with that understanding, in their learning. It is easy. So when it's close relationships, and we face them almost every other day, right? And like we have one person, it's just their way of thinking. They're very centered, and maybe they're in that root chakra right now, trying to take care of themselves. I kind of understand that. And it helps me. But then, obviously this world is our stage to learn, and we are tested, right? So I learn, but then again, my husband or someone will point it out again to me. See how they are? Why are they doing this? And though I have convinced myself and shot, like I'm tested again with somebody else pointing me again back to the same direction. So I am trying to again gear. It's like driving, trying to shift gear, move, and keep going. And then again, I get these lessons where they're reflecting what we lack, right? And then I'm thinking, is this really what I am lacking? So looking at that, trying to fix it, working on this. And to add to all this, the final thought that we are all the same, they are us, and don't see them different. How can we accept all? It is getting harder. I try to see them as us, especially when they're so different from what I think I'm feeling. Finally, everything is judgmental, I think, and what Sumati ma'am just now said adds up to everything. But this is a work in progress, and I'm just putting out thoughts here. It's like, learning is one thing, but trying to live in this world, it started to showing all these things and testing us. And when we start working, then you see everything, right? So these are my thoughts. Random thoughts.
Thank you so much, Vindhya. And I don't find them random at all. I would say what you just mentioned also means wisdom becomes knowledge when we start, and knowledge becomes wisdom when we start to practice what we learned. And so that's also how the bud angels challenge us to practice and to experience. And yes, to go.
So yeah, when we step back a little and see it, that's what is happening, right? Every time you're not learning, yes, again, it's put in front of you. And like you said, when it doesn't come again in front of us, then we need to understand, okay, I got this. And obviously those people start disappearing from our life or whatever. But I'm yet to be there.
And another aspect can also be the person stays in your life, but dissolves to being a bud angel. I have experienced that as well. When I got aware that I took my power back and didn't give that bud angel the power over me. And from there, things changed as well, although the person stayed in my life.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's not just two people. And when my husband comes in, jumps in, someone else comes and validate it for me. Yeah, that person is not doing the right thing. I'm trying to correct my husband's point of view because I changed. And then he doesn't want to take that learning from me. So it's just a big cycle, I think. It's going on.
Very true. Thank you, Vindhya. Dear all, I'm totally, let's say, stunned. I don't know what to say. I really wouldn't have thought that this hour would fly by so fast. We are, let's say, over time of that hour, and unfortunately I need to leave. I love the discussion. Thanks to all of you for engaging, for being there, for sharing, for your authenticity. This hour meant really so much to me. As I said, I unfortunately right now have to leave, but thanks to Shashank, I'm grateful that Shashank told me he's okay with taking over the meditation. So any one of you who still has the time and wants to stay and wants to dive into meditation, you still, as we always promise, have the possibility to also meditate with the Beam Masters. Dear Master Shashank, thank you so much for taking it from here for me and for supporting me into, diving into the next things waiting on that schedule today. I'm really grateful to all of you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. And it's a wonderful discussion, and have a nice evening to you.
Every one of you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Jana. Okay, Masters, let whoever wants to be in the meditation, we can do a short 10 minutes meditation or even 15 minutes. So whoever wants to now incorporate this knowledge and sit back and, taking your power back, whatever we learned so far. So I request you all to close your eyes, sit very comfortably. Clasp your hands and cross your legs. And just observe your normal, natural breath. Let us all bring our attention to this moment. This is the center, and this is a powerhouse. Whenever your mind wavers, just acknowledge it. There is no force involved. Bring back to the breath. "10 minutes, friends." Inhale softly and exhale softly. Last 1 minute, friends. Gently bring back your attention to your physical body. Last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, friends. Gently place both of your palms onto your eyes. And you may open your eyes whenever you're ready. Thank you so much, friends, for the very short, powerful meditation. And Archana ji, hello. You want to share something? Okay. Okay, friends. Then we'll again meet tomorrow in the morning with Master Madhu with Cosmic Picture, and in the evening with Master Sharu. So thank you so much for joining, and it's amazing discussion today. Time we could just go on and on. So maybe we will have another session with Jana on the same topic. Thank you so much once again for sharing all your wisdom. We wish you all a nice evening. Bye bye.